We all know that opposition instructions have become a very important part of the game in FM22, and yet it is still one of the most difficult areas of the game to understand and to utilize and to get the best out of nullifying the opposition. So I've decided, after having been asked a few times now what the opposition instructions are that I use and do I work from a template, I kind of decided, okay, let's do a little basic guide for simple people like me on how to set up opposition instructions and how to get the most out of this particular part of the game. And with that said now, let's go and kick some balls. Hello and welcome back to FM22 with Old Man Phil. And if you are a first-time visitor, then why not subscribe, watch, like and comment and help us to support the very worthwhile cause that you can see scrolling above. And as I said in the intro, I've been asked a few times now to explain how I set up my opposition instructions. And in no small part has that been responsible for how successful we have been in that Swansea save. But there are a number of things that we need to consider, and it's not just clicking buttons or working from a template. And I know that there are a lot of players who work from a kind of template, but every team that you will play against will be different. And therefore, I set up my template as such, which is based on how we want to play, and then I will adjust the opposition instructions per individual team. So this template is not going to be as it stands for every single game. I'm going to analyze the team, the key players, and how best to nullify the opposition when I'm playing with them. When I've done that, what I will do is take a screenshot and I will save that screenshot for that team. But there are three questions, and is my team capable of doing it? Will it affect how I play, and why am I doing it? For question 2, the answer is a definite yes, and if you use too many of them, then it is going to pull your players out of shape. They're going to be distracted from what they're supposed to be doing, and you're going to be leaving a lot of space for the opposition. So in terms of understanding how we play, which is going to be very helpful in terms of setting up the opposition instructions, we will only be pressing in the center of the pitch. Now, pressing and tight marking is one of the most difficult ones to understand. So having identified that we're only going to be pressing in the center of the pitch, that means now I can base my opposition instructions on basically just pressing and tight marking here. And the first thing that I really have to look at is the first question, and it's like, can my team actually do it? And if I have a team that can't actually press very well or mark very well, then what is the point of doing it? I'm just going to be running around with like headless chickens and not achieving anything. And so I have to first of all find out, and I'll go to the assistant report, and I am looking for, especially for closing down and trigger press, I'm looking for work rate, aggression, acceleration, pace, agility and stamina. And can my team actually do that? And if we look through my list of strengths, those are the attributes that I am looking for to be particularly strong. And if I'm very strong in all of those, then I'm a great pressing team. And I can see that I am an aggressive team, and I have good work rate. And we are exceptional in terms of teamwork, but those are the only ones. And if we look at, we don't possess aggression, we don't acceleration and pace, and we are not blessed with great stamina. We are just below average in terms of stamina, and our agility is not very good. So we are not really a great pressing team, which is why I choose only to press in the middle. But I can also go to my dynamic screen, and I can see that the players have an extremely strong understanding, and so they will work together, and that teamwork and work rate will help them to work together. In terms of the trigger press, therefore, I'm going to usually be slightly more often on the trigger press. Against teams that I am stronger than, I will increase that to more often. So having established that, we can now start to put together these opposition instructions. And I know where I want to have players, and I know exactly who I want to type mark. But let's start with the easy one. Let's start with the weaker foot. So I'm going to use anyone with a reasonable weak or a very weak foot if they are a threat. Bearing in mind that I want the fullbacks to come into the middle, I will force them onto the foot that brings them inside. And so they're either going to be passing into the middle or they're going to be running into the middle where I'm going to be pressing people. So that is the first thing that I'm going to do. And having done that with the fullbacks, I'm then going to go through each and every player and find out if he has a reasonable, weak or very weak foot. And is he a threat? If he's not a threat, do I really need to actually do it? So I'm going to go through all these players, looking at their feet, and I will just, where necessary, for example here, Pavon, I will turn him onto his weaker foot. Nullify his threat by forcing him to play with the foot that he's not very strong on. And go through all of them and look for, and so that's pretty much it. I've kept it to a minimum, and I'm just simply going to leave that at that. And then we will then look at hard tackling, and this is very, very good, and it's a good thing to do, but I would only do it if they are poor in tackling, aggression, bravery, and agility. And if you find that there's too many of them, if you're a much, much better side, you might be better off just telling the team to get stuck in rather than going more on an individual basis. So what we're going to do is to just go through the team again. We're going to be looking at how at those attributes in particular, and then deciding whether or not they are poor in those areas, and then hard tackling the players who really are a threat to you. And your team report on the opposition will tell you really who the opposition players are you should be thinking about, and also your experience of playing them before will tell you. So I'm just going through all the players, just identifying, do they have poor attributes in tackling, aggression, bravery and agility. Doesn't need to be all of them, and if they're poor in 2 or 3 of them, then I probably would still be tempted to hard tackle them. And that's it. I've pretty much done with that now. And the next thing, the most complicated part of the game, is going to be tight marking and closing down the trigger press. And this is a very difficult area of the game to try and judge. Now, I'm looking for trigger press, I'm looking for poor mobility, acceleration, agility and pace, poor control, first touch and technique, poor dribbling flair and technique, and poor focus, composure and concentration, especially if the player has attacking threats like crossing, passing or long shots. If they don't have these poor attributes though, then it's probably not a good idea to actually do a trigger press on them. Again, they don't need all of them. You have to make a decision based on how poor a player they are. For tight marking, I'm going to look for poor acceleration, agility, pace, anticipation off the ball, strength, balance, and jumping reach. And as a general rule, I will probably not tight mark the centre forward because they generally are in the Premier League very, very good players. And so I'm looking now at all these attributes and trying to find the weakness, and then I will decide whether to tight mark them or to close them down. And Maitland-Niles, I'm decided that tight marking him out of the game might be a good idea. In terms of James Justin, he's a very, very good player, and I've known him a long time in FM, and he can cause a lot of problems. So therefore, I'm not really going to do anything with him except force him inside into the middle. The midfield is where I want to press, so this is a particularly important area for me, and I'm the defensive mid. I'm going to type mark him. We do have a team that has attributes that can match him, and so we are going to type mark him. And the centre mids, they're not particularly quick, their positioning, his positioning is not that great, and so his anticipation is not great. He's not very brave, he's not very aggressive, so we're probably going to close down Malero. We'll probably tight mark or close down. I'll go with close down, because he is a little bit of a threat, and we do want to stop him from having time on the ball. And Maddison, of course, is a threat, and so we are going to press him in the middle of the pitch as well. So we pretty much focused on the middle of the pitch there. Now, if we look at Christian Pavon, what is quite interesting about him is that he is not the most creative player. He doesn't have very good attributes. He has a bit of pace. But he doesn't have. He's not very creative. His decisions are poor, vision poor, positioning is poor. He's probably someone who would be the weak link in that team. So whilst my instinct is telling me to close him down and tight mark him, I'm going to leave him alone. And the reason for that is I want Leicester to try to get the ball to him, and what I will do with the other winger is that I will close him down. He's not very fast, and probably tight mark him, take him out of the game, and then Leicester will actually look to find Pavon rather than looking for Torgan Hazard, who is much more of a creative threat. So I'm going to close him down and tight mark him, take him out of the game so that Leicester will pass to the weak link. And in terms of the forwards, I very rarely do anything with the forwards. He's got exceptional. Daka is an exceptional player in FM, and I really don't want to be too close to him, but just close enough that we can nullify any threat that he has. So I'm not going to tight mark him. If he is a threat during the game, then what I will do is I'll get somebody on him to tight mark him. But as a general instruction, I really don't want to be having him go past us. Now, in terms of the game, having set that up, we absolutely dominated Leicester. We didn't fire very well. It was a particularly poor performance, and we didn't play very well. But in terms of chances that Leicester had, we absolutely nullified them. They didn't have a shot on target. Pavon had a very, very poor game, as did Maitland-Niles. The plan worked, and we were lucky. We did win 1-0 with a goal from Vitinha, but we were not at our best, and we won because we stopped Leicester from actually getting any chances at all. And so I've tried to make this really simple for you guys. It really is about focusing on attributes and then trying to figure out how that fits in with the way that you play. Two general rules is not to use too many. It will be a disaster. It will pull your team out of shape, and you will eventually become all over the place and lose the game. So keep your instructions to just a few. You don't need too many. And identify who are the key threats and focus on them. And then what I did, as you saw in the Leicester one, identify the weak links and try to get the opposition to play the ball through him rather than somebody else who might be a better creative player. And that's it for this video. I hope it's been helpful. It's been a very quick little run through. It is a little bit more complicated than that. what I do, but I've tried to keep it as simple as possible. And this does work. And the more you do this, the easier it will become for you. You'll get used to what you're looking for, and you'll get used to how your team actually performs when you give them these instructions. And so that's it for this video. If you are new to the channel, then why not subscribe, watch, like and comment. Help us to grow and help us to support the very worthwhile cause you can see scrolling above. And if you are new, why not join us over on the Swansea save? And we would love to see you there. And, stay in touch with us, and if you have any questions, then please feel free to ask them in the comments section below. I reply to all comments. And we do have other tutorials. Just before we go, we do have other tutorials in the Win More Games playlist, which will give anybody struggling with beating Liverpool or quick teams, or want to know more about how complacency is a part of the game. We have some more guides for you in the Win More Games section. And I hope to see many of you soon, and hopefully many of you in the Swansea save, which is going very, very well indeed at the moment. And so for now, all that remains to be said is we will see you soon, when we will be taking on the Champions League and the Premier League with Swansea. Bye for now.